Matthew 7 and verse 24. But remember that it's going to be a cross charge with the world. You know, like when you hook up a battery to charge another battery in a car, but you twist the lines, it's gonna spark, and it can blow up that battery, you know, and you gotta be expecting, if I'm gonna get right with God, if I'm gonna cleanse my life, if I'm gonna start speaking up for holiness, that the world's gonna hate me all the more. Why? Because I'll represent the Savior even more. I mean, just look at Jaden Ivey standing up for what's right. You know, people say that he lost his mind because he talks about Jesus, he talks about the gospel and salvation, and because he calls sin sin, because he says that the NBA supporting, you know, homosexuality and the LGBTQ crowd, that is an unrighteous thing, and they stand for that, and he stands on the opposite side. You know, though he was in that league and they kicked him out of the league, they waived him, they took him off the team, the Chicago Bulls, and they said that it's detrimental. What he's doing or what he is detrimental to the team. But he's not a detriment to the team. He's a detriment to your perverted ways, your perverted system. He's standing for what's right, but then if you stand for what's right, you're going to be hated upon. You're going to be looked at like you're crazy, like you're nuts. Why? Because you say what's right. And the world is so far gone, as in Isaiah, they will call evil good and good evil. And that's today. That's the day and age we're living in. We're witnessing it right now. And pray for him, and pray that God will continue to use him. Maybe he's got a higher calling. Maybe God may use him as a minister. Maybe he'd be a preacher. And that'd be a blessing, you know. It's a much higher calling than the NBA. And he knows that money's not everything. And he knows that fulfilling God's will is the most important thing. And I'm just so encouraged by somebody like that. I wish all professional athletes that name the name of Christ would be in support of him, and that they would speak up. I mean, could you imagine if some Christians that were some of the best basketball players or some of the best baseball players were standing up for what's right and what's wrong according to the Bible? And I guarantee you, if they're a big piece of the puzzle of that team, they wouldn't get rid of them so easy. If it was Aaron Judge that spoke up, I'm sure they wouldn't get rid of him. If it was LeBron James, or if it was Luka Doncic, I don't know if they're Christians, you know, or Wembanyama, you think that they would just can them like that? If a bunch of them start standing up, then they ain't going to have too many viewers. They ain't going to have too many people watching the NBA anymore. I wish people would protest. I wish people would stand up. You know, I would. I'd be right there with them. I'd end up getting kicked off the team too if I was playing with them. You know why? Because I can't sit there idly by and just let somebody get bullied, or, you know, I'd have to speak up.